Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Talent Horison, where we delve into all things AI and staffing. I'm Helge, the tech-savvy one who can't get enough of zeros and ones.
And I'm Lee, your industry insider. We're thrilled today to have a very special guest with us, Andreas Nordlund, who's making waves at OnePartnerGroup, a Swedish staffing company known for its tech-forward approach.
Thank you, Lee.
Today, we'll dive into the new AI functionality from LinkedIn and a study that was recently released by Adecco, revealing an AI skills gap and their plans how to change this together with Microsoft. So LinkedIn has upped its AI game significantly with a plethora of new AI tools geared towards learning, recruitment, marketing, and sales. So here's a closer look at what's new.
Firstly, there's the Recruiter 2024. It's a new AI-assisted recruiting experience designed to help recruitment professionals formulate better search strings to uncover stronger candidate lists. Essentially, it's about making the recruitment process more intuitive and effective.
And then there's the AI-powered LinkedIn Learning Coach, which is a chatbot designed to provide advice and recommendations, particularly focusing on soft skills development, a crucial aspect in today's collaborative workspace.
Marketing on LinkedIn is also getting a significant boost with a new product called Accelerate. This tool is aimed at simplifying campaign management on the platform, although it's limited to the LinkedIn ecosystem.
And furthermore, inside sales and B2B selling on LinkedIn are also embracing AI. A new search function will assist in identifying potential connections, making it easier to initiate conversations with leads, a crucial aspect for sales personnel focused on B2B selling.
And now just a brief message from our sponsor, which is Globus AI.
Globus AI is revolutionizing temporary staffing solutions through AI, empowering agencies to boost efficiency, enhance performance, and scale their business. Discover the potential at globus.ai. Shifting gears, let's delve into a recent report by the Adecco Group on AI adoption in the workforce and an intriguing collaboration between Adecco and Microsoft aimed at bridging the skills gap.
So the Adecco report reveals that 70% of workers globally are already utilizing generative AI at work, with only a small fraction fearing job obsolescence. Interestingly, despite the wide AI adoption, less than half of these workers receive training from their employers.
And that's a crucial point, Helge. The report also highlighted a strong interest among workers for AI training, indicating a positive outlook towards AI, with many expecting it to save time and reduce repetitive tasks.
On a related note, Adecco and Microsoft have now teamed up to launch a generative AI-powered career platform. So this initiative is designed to assess individual skills and provide customized career advice, micro-learning and upskilling opportunities, aligning with the evolving labor market needs.
And I think Microsoft, again, in the news this week, their AI push has proved to have been a really good strategic move, not least the intelligence from The Economist this week talking about the impact of AI on Microsoft overall strategy, the impact that it's had as a consequence on their share price undeniably has been a positive one through their tie-in with AI. So looks like Microsoft are well on the way to trying to win the big beasts AI battle. But I think certainly if we look at their tie-in with Adecco, that's all about ensuring individuals can remain competitive and employable in what is undeniably, as we've said many a time, an era of rapid technological advancement.
And it's been a quiet week, actually. We're monitoring everything that occurs, but not too much related to staffing and recruitment this week.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty, Andreas, let's set the stage a bit, if we may. Could you briefly tell us about your role at OnePartnerGroup and how you fell down the AI rabbit hole?
Certainly. Thank you for having me, guys. I'm head of IT and system owner at OnePartnerGroup. My line of business is keeping track of our infrastructure, integrations, and various tools in our everyday work. And how I fell down the AI rabbit hole, I'm not quite sure. I've always been quite fascinating of how to make things more efficient, work smarter, and make simple stuff even more simple. I guess. So I'm just a curious guy.
That's great to hear. I think we're all quite curious. Let's pivot to tech adoption. For our listeners that may not know, the staffing industry has been undergoing, significant tech transformation in recent years. You have everything from blockchain verifying credentials to virtual reality onboarding. And OPG, under your leadership, Andreas, has been an early adopter of a lot of different innovations. I know you were early on Adway. You've implemented Globus AI. Could you share your secret strategy for embracing new tech without becoming a victim of tech fads?
I think that our whole organization it kind of breeds some entrepreneurial spirit. Our founder is a great entrepreneur, and we're allowed to explore, to go down paths that may look good while first entering, but to fail also. It's important to evaluate, to see what you did good, and see what you can do even better. So we've tried out many types of different tools, different type of things to implement or to make us better, make us more competitive, make us more attractive as an employer. That's one key to it. But also you need to stay curious. You need to, I don't know if it's a good thing to be lazy, but to cut down on administrating and focus on your core business, focus on, in our line of business, our candidates, our clients, our partners, because that's where the true value lies. That's one factor. Always keep in mind to be curious and allow it to fail.
Sounds a bit like the developer mindset. If you do things more than twice, you find a way to automate it. How do you ensure that people try things and are allowed to fail? Because that's kind of a hard culture to establish.
Yeah, it is. I certainly agree. I guess that you don't have to do everything on a large scale right at once, but find those early adopters, those who are curious, those who are very proud in what they do and want to do it well, and try to increase that level of work they do, the level of output that we get from them. Keep it small and just elaborate.
So these are for new projects. You find some early adopters or early ambassadors for those. But are these traits that you also hire for when you're looking for recruiters?
Yeah, nowadays we do. An important question also, because we've had dialogues internally on how to set our team. I'm a football guy myself, so you need a striker, you need a central midfielder and a goalkeeper all at once. But how to set that team today is I think different from a few years ago, because you need some aggressive players and you need some more defensive players also to keep it leveled out.
I think that's a really smart advice right there. Put the team together in a good way.
Absolutely. A real a nugget of wisdom, I would observe. And speaking of that wisdom, I'd read that or understand that you'd recently completed an intensive course on AI and change management. And a study from McKinsey had noted that AI implementation can improve performance metrics by up to 20%. Has this training shifted your perspective on incorporating AI into staffing?
I don't think it has shifted my perspective. More likely it has increased and made me more hungry for further development and further increasing different types of AI in our work. Keep in mind the security aspect of it, and that everybody needs to know what they're doing and what input to put in and what output to expect. But yeah, the change management, it's a good thing to always keep in mind and always be alert of. And that's something that I recently explored even more. And some part of that little course, that course was also implementing, or how should I say, accepting and inviting AI to your processes and to your everyday work, and not be afraid of it, but to see it for what it is and accept it for what it is, and acquire, be friends with it.
I think that's something we've talked about on this podcast before as well. The only way to really understand it is to start using it and understanding what it is. And that really helps both in, improving your own efficiency, but also understanding what use cases to move forward with. But could you please elaborate a bit on what kind of course this was and maybe some main takeaways from it?
It was a course by a Swedish company called Dig Journey. Their main focus is the digital transformation of corporations and organizations. So it's a way, a framework to identify different types of motors that you need to be aware of in your organization to set the right target for where you're at right now, the digital maturity right now, and where you want to be down the road. So identify your skill set and what motors you should focus on right now. You need to keep your vision and mission, and strategies on the right track. You need to keep your organization on the right track, your infrastructure, increase some parts of this so that you can benefit from the drives of the other motors. So kind of a coordination between different types of motors that drives your digital maturity forward, and so that you can accelerate, be more competitive on your market.
So basically mapping out, where you are today, where you need to be, and what are the right things to drive forward to that desired end state.
Pretty much, yeah. So what's your Northern Star?
Right. Was this a course at a university or was it an online course?
Kind of an online course. They used to have it physical also, but nowadays it's more online. So,
is it something you'd recommend to others?
Absolutely, I do. Both private sector and public sector. So it was a combined.
Good. And on that note, could you share some examples where implementing AI has been, or you expect it to be? I don't know how much you've implemented yet, but maybe expect it to be a game changer for your operations.
Yeah, we're kind of in the middle of it, so we're trying it out. We're having our early adopters to act ambassadors for us. So obviously, ChatGPT is something that we've adopted in some ways. The generative AI is absolutely a game changer for many industries, including ours, definitely, on how we interact, how we communicate. I don't know, summarize, transcribe, all that admin stuff that we do. So we got a lot of learning to do from our guys at marketing, yeah.
Right. So you mean the whole transformation that the marketing industry has been through, HR and staffing can kind of learn a lot from looking at that?
I think so, yeah, definitely.
And Andreas, as you've looked to that implementation within OPG, what have been some of the challenges that you've faced through that implementation? How perhaps have you tried to overcome them?
There's always the security aspect of it. We handle a massive amount of personal data regarding the GDPR and the EU AI Act coming up and all that. We need to keep that in mind. But still, I don't think that we should be scared of it. We just need to keep control of our data and what we do and what we put in. But I guess the hurdle is to make it as natural as breathing, basically, because, using AI in our line of business, I think that it's going to be just as natural as sending emails or talking on the phone. It's going to be implemented whether we like it or not in some ways, and in other ways we need to, really dig into it and see what we can get out of it. But it's already implemented in some ways to our everyday chores or whatever.
In varying degrees, perhaps, but do you experience any degree of or sense of fear, perhaps too strong a word, but that hesitancy around adoption from your workforce in varying degrees? Is there a fear, I guess, that, what does this mean? How does this impact me in my job? How does it affect my role?
That's a good question, Lee. I don't think fear is the right word. I don't just think that you need to be conscious enough to see what you're doing and what you're putting in on the table. Let's say ChatGPT, they don't use all your stuff that you put in, all the data, to train their model or to whatever. But you need to be aware of a possibility. But then on the other hand, they launched the enterprise model where you can set up your own rules of it. So you can be more careful. And so I don't think fear and being scared of the technology is the right way to go, but you need to respect it. Definitely.
To your point, absolutely. I accept fear is the wrong choice of word, but I want that sort of reticence amongst those that, if, hey, I'm performing, right? So I'm a high performer, I'm doing well in my job. I guess for some, it's like any transformation, that sense of, perhaps I don't know if it's uniquely UK adage, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of viewpoint amongst people who feel that kind of, well, I'm doing really well and all this change is happening around me. What does that mean for me in my job? I guess it's that reticence for some within the organization to embrace wholly or see the opportunities that AI can present them.
All right, sure. I can see that. It's happened a lot of different stuff, implementing, integrating different types of tools in all types of businesses. Yeah, at first it may seem a bit frightening to explore or this is going to do to my everyday work and my role. It has happened before. It's going to happen again. So why not embrace it, I guess?
That's a good point. Good point.
Easier said than done. Easier said than done, though.
Absolutely.
You talked before about celebrating failures. Is there any failures or stories that you would take to, I don't know if you have this in Sweden, but we have something called fuck-up nights. You talk about...
It's a great concept.
Major failures or celebrate failure. Anything you would bring to such an evening?
Yeah, I think I have a few anecdotes to bring to the table for that evening, but I think that's another discussion, I guess.
Nothing you want to share here?
We've landed some good stuff, but I guess we teamed up with one company that was a startup pretty early to see what we could do together in terms of analyzing data and structuring data, and it worked pretty good in the beginning. But then you figure out which way you want to go, and our paths didn't align. So they took another turn, and we took a right turn, I guess, in my perspective at least. So that's one thing that we've learned, that don't have too high hopes in the beginning. Make sure that it aligns with your strategies and where you want to go, and that it helps out your colleagues and your everyday business, I guess.
Yeah, we talked to a lot of staffing agencies that that they've gone through implementing an ATS system, which is very hard often, like exchanging your ATS, moving over, like it's a huge implementation. And now you see all these myriads of AI tools popping up. And if you're kind of in the mindset that everything will be an ATS implementation, I think that's not good, because it needs to be more lightweight. You need to be able to test things out and fail sometimes, like you mentioned, then you see that you need to go separate ways, and that's it. We've talked a lot before about candidate experience, Lee, right? And there's quite a few candidates who has a bad experience, right?
Yeah, I think it's...
I don't remember the number. Do you have...
Yeah, it's the report that I'd read had suggested that 60% of job seekers have had a poor candidate experience. I might even argue that anecdotally that arguably could be higher. But I wonder, as to, Andreas, from your perspective, candidate experience is a hot topic. And I think if you look at, as I say, your own experience, I wonder as to how perhaps implementing AI has impacted what is undeniably a crucial aspect of OPG's operations.
I guess that you can never get too much information, because when you get information, you can choose to read it and evaluate, or you can also choose to just delete it. So keeping the candidate informed at all times, I think that's key. If AI or any other type of automations is a way to do that, to improve that, sure, why not? Go ahead. But don't forget to be personal and get personalized in your communication also. So you can't, I don't believe that you can auto-generate all your communications to candidate and expect the candidate to get a great journey. But I think that some of it, definitely. Keep in mind that it's people that we're working with. So my colleagues, they are most valuable in every way on keeping the dialogue with all candidates, clients, partners. So what we want to do is to keep AI, technology, and all that stuff to do the boring stuff. And our colleagues, we should do things that increases value and increases experience and increases interactions. You need to keep the scale leveled, I guess. But more information, for sure.
Some critics argue that AI may remove the human touch from recruitment, but are there any areas where AI has actually made the candidate journey more personalized or smoother?
It depends on how you use the AI. There's many types of tools and many types of AI that you can implement and use. But I'm 100% sure that in some ways it keeps the journey for the candidate and candidate experience even smoother. Absolutely. Maybe quicker, because the candidates, they want a quick process today. And most organizations also want a quick process. So if you can speed that up and keep everybody informed that same way, sure. That's one way to go, I guess.
I agree. You can probably use it in both ways, but I also think human touch will be necessary, and recruiters will be necessary to do that in the future as well, even though AI will make it more efficient. Kind of moving on to skill requirements for the recruiter. LinkedIn's Future of Recruiting report highlights that soft skills are increasingly important, yet AI is on the rise. How is the technological wave altering the skill set that recruiters need today?
Yeah, that's very interesting because I listened to a podcast last week about AGI. When they get AGI to work out, how will that influence and impact on the soft values and how we look at that? But still, I think the recruiter's skill set will change over time. They're still so important for just the soft values, but also you need to figure out how you should operate your skill set in forms of making most of the technology at hand also. So how to optimize and make the most of the technology and what the technology can offer, but with the human touch. I think that's how you create true value. To evaluate skills and to evaluate human skills, that's something that a human should do and not a computer, I guess. Still, the recruiter is a key factor.
How about from your technical perspective? Is there anything you would recommend recruiters to upskill themselves on to be in a better position?
Absolutely. I think that upskilling is something that we all need to do. Just because you graduate university or college or whatever, you can't expect that your employer is going to be the one that's going to upskill you. I think that you're going to need to take that into your own hands and see what's down the road, what's in it for me, what do I want to do, and how can I be even better at what I do. Just as I said before, if you're a football player, you're on the field, what can I do better to create better value for my teammates and for my team, and to make our journey as good and as profitable as possible. In my point of view, AI is becoming such a big part of our everyday infrastructure, and I think that we're gonna need to take that seriously. Also in school, learn more about how to prompt and what to expect. What input can we use and what output can we expect, and also be critical, because an AI isn't always right. We need to evaluate the result that we get from the AI also.
And I guess change is the only thing that we know is constant in all of this, right, Lee?
Absolutely. And also reflecting there on, Andreas, your comments, I think the very best recruiters I've ever worked with have a natural curiosity. Initially, that curiosity stems around and naturally will ask questions to seek understanding. But that curiosity, I suspect, will drive, you make some great pro tips, but that curiosity will drive a natural desire to understand, how can I improve my performance? How can I improve my outcomes for my customers? How can I improve my outcomes for my candidates? So I think that, those tips you mentioned around, I guess, kind of keep that curiosity as to how some of these tools can enhance the offer that you present to your stakeholders, I think it's great tips for all those recruiters out there in the market looking at how AI is evolving and impacting our industry.
Can I just ask you, Andreas, I just thought of this, like, do you have any programs or things that you do with the recruiters to upskill them for the new technology that's coming?
We have something that we call Learning Wednesdays, where we take a subject, a colleague of mine, she runs it, takes a subject and evaluates that and elaborates it in a forum, an online forum internally. So a few weeks ago, it was AI actually. Last week, it was how to make job posts more attractive and how we write those to make it as sexy as possible for the candidate. So we got all types of different subjects for Learning Wednesdays. And also we got different days where we gather different type of roles internally to also share experiences, share best practices, and take notes of what others do and what they do well, and how can I implement that in my daily work. So sharing experience internally is a key factor and something that we strive to do as much as possible, because we got great competence at OnePartnerGroup. What a recruiter should have for a skill set, a recruiter has always been, in my point of view at least, curious of the different type of organizations that they recruit to. So the curiousness, that's already there, I guess. That's in that type of personality. So they still need to be curious on that type of organization so that they can find the perfect match, the perfect candidate and perfect match for that organization, the soft values and whatnot. So just evolving from that type of curiousness. Why not be curious on the technology that comes in hand also?
Again, it's back to change.
Good point,
isn't it? And change being the only true constant. I think that's always been fair. And I think if you look at that impact on change and how organisations embrace change and manage change, there are studies suggesting that almost 70% of organisational change efforts fail, and I think that's primarily due to employee resistance and a lack of buy-in. Something we touched on.
I'm very fortunate to have great colleagues that can, criticize in a good way, give good feedback, but also wants to check out new stuff, new hot stuff, new technology. And we're highly competitive at OnePartnerGroup. So we want to be the best also. We want to strive for greatness.
If you could distill it down, well, what are your top 3 things that managers and staffing should absolutely consider when they're thinking about implementing AI?
Don't think it, do it in some way. Try out small and let it grow big. Find some process that takes a lot of time, that's inefficient in some ways, and focus on that. Drive success from there. There is, I believe, always something that triggers us, whether it's the profit or the efficiency or whatever. So if you find those early adapters, those ambassadors, see what triggers them. Try to play around with that to get the work done. Don't be afraid. Just go ahead and do it, because it's a lot of fun.
That's an excellent point, Andreas. And I just wanted us to around how you measure success. Are there any particular key KPIs or metrics that you might use to monitor the ROI of your AI initiatives, and therefore any that you might consider to be more useful than others?
We try to calculate an ROI before entering a major project. I'd say that we try out a lot of stuff on a very small scale. But when we want to scale up, we definitely need to keep an ROI in mind. So doing that together with, for example, Globus was a great way to do it, to see what's been fortunate and what's not so fortunate for us right now. We want to get a higher value for candidates and for our colleagues and clients, definitely. But we want to also calculate with the cost. What's the cost of implementing this and integration costs and whatnot, personal costs. We're looking at a 6 months trial-ish, I guess. But that's not cut in stone. It's, we try to look at the big picture, what's in it for us further down the road, and not so here and now.
What if we use Globus AI as an example? Like what were the main ROIs or the main implications that you're looking to improve with this kind of an application?
Activating candidates, more candidates, definitely, because that's what we do. We want people to feel good about themselves and the work they do. So we want to put more good people on good work.
Yeah. And I guess one of the main things is kind of sourcing from your own database. That's one of the main advantages of doing this. Lastly, where do you see the role of the AI in staffing the next 5 years? Kind of a crystal ball moment.
Looking at it, the perspective 5 years, it's shrinking more and more. I think things happen in such a rapid pace. So if we say 5 years today, I guess that's where we'll be in 2 years. It really depends on how the business adapts to the new stuff, the new technology, and the way and how individuals act and react. We tend to use more technology in our private sphere than we do professionally. So how we buy stuff, how we use just what we got in our pocket every day, our cell phones, what we use there, what kind of apps we do use, and what we use them for. Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, all these are implementing AI in a rapid speed also. I'm going on a little limb here, but I think that maybe if you're a successful business, you should be able to adapt to the individuals, how they act today, because they are way ahead of many professional businesses today. But where we'll be in 5 years from now, I don't really know. In a happy place with lots of...
Hopefully. And the development goes faster and faster, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy place.
It's a fantastic insight, Andreas. And I just wonder if, before we wrap up, have you any shout outs, resources, tools, recommendations perhaps for anyone wanting to deep dive into AI for staffing?
There's a lot of stuff happening, and if you don't subscribe to some kind of AI newsletter in some way, I think you're way behind already. Be curious on those things. There's a great newsletter called Ben Bites that I subscribe on, where I get some news, pretty good. And one thing I picked up from there was those wearables, AI wearables, that was coming up on Paris Fashion Week, where I think the fashion brand Perny, I guess, had some AI wearables. I don't know what it is and what it's gonna do for us in the future, but it caught my interest. So I think I'm gonna keep my eye on wearables, and because it's a screenless, non-cell phone connection type of thing. Phil Strasula, he's a great guy to follow on LinkedIn if you don't do that. The Swedish guy, Johannes Sundlo. And if you want to dive into tech AI that's going to do some magic for your operation, I think Globus AI is a good way to go. They got good stuff going on, and they're really fun to work with. I think Sana Labs, the Swedish company Sana Labs, dive into that. Get ahead of that. Hubot, also a Swedish company that works with recruitment, HR. Some stuff that can keep you efficient, I guess, with all the online meetings. I guess Fireflies to transcribe and summarize and take notes of your meeting. That's a good way to go also. If you're a recruiter, you can focus on the person in front of you instead of taking notes. So
Actually started using Fireflies as well. I'm just waiting for Microsoft to kind of catch up, because I'm sure this will be very integrated into the Office suite as well for Microsoft. I think Talent Horizon as well, this awesome podcast that you're listening to. Remember to subscribe, and that can be a good way to keep updated as well.
I agree.
And Johannes Sundlo that you mentioned, he just came out with a new course, also an online course that might be valuable.
It's a great guy to keep track on. I think he's got a lot of good ideas and good stuff that he shares.
Thank you so much, Andreas. I took notes without using Fireflies, just the good old manual way. And some of the things I noted throughout the conversation was that, start out from a company level, map out where you are and where you want to be to create your AI strategy. For the candidates, use tools to keep them more informed, but make sure that your communication is personalized. Learn and upskill the workforce using things like Learning Wednesdays, sharing experiences internally and best practices. Make sure to celebrate failures. And I think you also have kind of a developer mindset. So automate repetitive tasks that you keep doing. And I just noted down some of your main tips as well. Don't think, start doing, start small, find a valuable use case, and find the right ambassadors in the organizations. And of course, recruiters and managers should keep being curious about customers, candidates, but also technology, which I think was a good statement that you made. Did I catch everything?
It did very well without Fireflies.
Awesome. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe to this podcast as well if you want more insights into AI and technology and staffing and recruitment.
Thank you once again. Thank you so much, Andreas, just to endorse everything that Helge has mentioned there. So for listeners, this has been Talent Horizon, once again helping you navigate the future of staffing one episode at a time. See you next week.